One of the most annoying things about working with a computer is when something new pops up right when you're getting ready to get something done and you can't do what you wanted to do because a new problem has surfaced. Such is the case when you have the mouse and you click the mouse and you get more than one click instead of a single click that you wanted. Now, to be sure, there are settings in the computer to address this, but what we're going to look at here is sometimes those settings just don't work. And in this case, it's a hardware problem and not a software problem. Now, in investigating this, I'm going to look at two different mice. This first mouse is a really old PS2 mouse. The second mouse I'm going to look at is a wireless trackball mouse. And yeah, they all can have the problem. And I'm going to show you how to take a look at it in both types of mice, both the old ones and the new ones. The first step in this, of course, is to find out how to disassemble a mouse. And in this case, it's only got one screw on the bottom. Sometimes they hide screws underneath the labels, and sometimes they hide screws underneath these pads. Now, the first step here is to go ahead and take this one single screw out with a smaller Phillips screwdriver. Once I get the screw out, I'll set the screw aside, and then it's time to go ahead and take the cover off the mouse. Now, before I do that, I'll go ahead and take both the trackball and the trackball retainer off and set those aside. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and set the trackball inside the retainer to keep it from running off, and I should go ahead and grab the screw and put it over there beside this too. In this case, it really doesn't matter how you orient the mouse to take it apart. It's usually slightly pivoted on the front. In this case, this one just slightly lifts off with just a little bit of minor adjustment by pivoting it forwards. Once you get the cover off, check it carefully for any broken plastic that may totally invalidate the repair, and then look carefully at the inside of the mouse. You want to locate all of the switches so you know what you need to do as far as taking care of them. What I'm going to do next here is just use the screwdriver and check all the switches, making sure they click easily and firmly and they return back to their starting position. And do the same thing with the trackball here. Rotate it, make sure as I rotate it that switch is nice and smooth in its action. If everything checks out, then yeah, this is a repairable mouse as far as a double clicking issue. The next thing I'm going to do in this repair is just go ahead and check these two rollers that have the window wheels. If you have any buildup on these rolling window wheels, you're going to find an erratic mouse action. So you definitely want to, while you're in there, go ahead and clean this up and make sure there's no buildup there. I found that just my fingernails are more than satisfactory for cleaning off any buildup that's here. And once you take a look at them and they look back and smooth, then you can go ahead and call this an end repair. The next thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and pop out this central roller wheel. I want to make sure that its action is nice and smooth and there's no buildup of lint anywhere in the assembly here. If this roller checks out, then you can go ahead and set it aside and we're about ready to proceed to the main repair. If you watched any other of my electronic repair videos, you know I'm a big fan of WD-40, and yeah, in this case, WD-40 is going to get some more usage again. What I'm doing now is going to all the switches that are up front. In this case, there are 3 of them. And yeah, WD-40 one spot here I didn't need to. But I'm going to go ahead and squirt a little WD-40 by pressing the switch itself down and give it the most brief shot possible. Then move on to the next switch and do the same thing, and finally to the third switch. I found out this really has a good solid cleaning effect on these switches. Apparently there's a little bit of minor arcing that takes place in these switches. Okay, with that final thing being done, now it's time to put the mouse back together. Starting out first with this roller wheel up front, and make sure that you locate it correctly. In this case, try it and just check and make sure it's going to drop in smoothly. There is a little kind of gear section on this. If you get it out of position, you could definitely break something because it is just plastic. Take your time here, don't force it. Just make sure that it feels right when it's going in. And again, it does take a fine touch just to make sure it's in there correctly. After you're satisfied with the roller wheel action, it's time to go ahead and put the cover back on. Remember, it pivots from the front, so I'd install it from the front to the back. And again, don't force this cover either. You want to go ahead around the mouse and make sure it's fitting like it should. In this case, this side looks good. Now this side needs to be a little bit minor adjustment, and now it's going like it should. The next thing is to go ahead and put the one screw back in. Again, this one, just make sure it's in there using only your fingers. Definitely don't get on your wrist into this. Just tighten it down until it bottoms out. Then you want to go ahead and just put the pad back on that covered the screw up. And there may be a little bit of need here for a little adhesive on this if you haven't been careful with it. Next, check the ball. Make sure it's clean. Clean it off. A little bitty light amount of wiping again with a Kleenex here. Really, a free cloth would probably be better as opposed to a Kleenex. Then put the cover back on. Pivot it, pop it in shape. And now it's time to go ahead and test out the mouse. Now let's take a look at my wireless trackball mouse. And yeah, this one was giving me extreme fits because it was double clicking going out of style. This one's got a few more screws to take out, and in this case they were hidden under pads and under labels. So you had to check all over this mouse to find all the screws. Once you got all the screws located, the cover just lifted straight off. Now in this case I was only concerned with the two main switches, and those are indicated by the two white arrows you see here. In this case the repair was the same as before. Press the switch down with the WD-40 nozzle, give it as brief a squirt as possible, and move on to the next switch. This was all it took to repair this mouse. After the WD-40 treatment, the mouse worked normally. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you found this video both interesting and useful. If you did, please consider giving me a like, and definitely think about subscribing. I've got a lot more tricks on the way. Until our paths cross again, y'all take care now, and I'll catch you on the next video.